Thank you.
So communications, if you could put my computer up here. Thank you, Madam Mayor. What I'd like to do this evening is just take a few brief minutes. I'll provide all these documents to the Village Council. I have no intention of actually providing a formal statement. I know there are a number of comments that have been made here in chambers, on social media, by email, and I know many of them are well intentioned, but I do want to put out some facts about aggressive birds, ducks, and geese in Coral Reef Park, and the measures that the village has consistently taken uh, for about 15 to 17 years now of records that I have. So I'm just going to deal with records that I have. Up to this point, maintaining very tight records of complaints and actions that the village has taken in Coral Reef Park has not been a priority. So I don't have great confidence that the records that I currently have been able to unearth are the only ones. In fact, I believe there's probably many more that just never made it into a folder, as this was never a big issue up until now. As you can see from the first document, I'm going to show a tranche of complaints of aggressive geese and duck behavior at Coral Reef Park that date back to 2008. And as you can see, I'm just going to scroll through a few of these. I'm going to provide all these documents to the Village Council. So the first incident I have from 2008 involves a goose bite to the face. More details. Uh, here's an incident from 2010 with a bruise to a knee from an individual who had to run from a group of aggressive geese. Another incident with cuts from a patron, a park patron, who ran and fell running away from aggressive geese. This particular complaint deals with a park patron who was walking around and claimed that she was attacked by an aggressive Egyptian goose, and in fact was upset at the village staff who was there for not taking action. There's more that follows, but I think I've shown that there is a very long history of aggressive behavior in Coral Reef Park. And in fact, the next document I'd like to bring to your attention is from 2013. This is an individual who actually filed a claim against the village for injuries sustained running away from an aggressive duck. And I'll go down to her medical report. Here's her medical report where she claims she was on a daily walk. She felt something nipping at her pants. She turned around and she was being attacked by a duck. She fell and injured her wrist and then filed a medical claim against the village. There's additional items, and I'll provide all these documents to the village. So going back to at least 2010, the village has removed aggressive birds from Coral Reef Park. These actions span every mayor, every village manager, and multiple members of the village council. In fact, if you just look at the most previous mayor and council, there are 5 such removals from 2015 through 2018. So again, I'll provide these documents to you, but you can see 2011, 2013, 2013, 2014, and so on. So the village has consistently, you can bring my computer down. So the village has consistently received complaints from residents about aggressive bird behavior. Certainly seems like the Egyptian geese are worse in that regard than the Muscovy ducks, but there are a number of complaints about Muscovy ducks as well. The village has always been responsive to those complaints. So nothing that the village has done recently is any different than actions that the village has done in the past. And in fact, everything the village has done is entirely consistent with both federal and state statutes, as well as our own ordinances and those of the county. So there's nothing unusual. There's nothing new. I know there are some very passionate members of the community that find it extremely offensive. But there are also, on the other side, people who demand that the village take action. And I look at my most important job as village manager is to provide a safe place in the parks for the residents to be able to enjoy. So with that, I just want to bring all of that to your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes, sir.
Yes, Councilmember Cody.
Thank you. One of our prior mayors, who frequently characterizes his mayoralty by his last name and that person's the administration, did any of the culling of Egyptian geese happen when our founding mayor was mayor or during his third term?
Yeah, I certainly have records from 2015 to 2018. Anything that happened prior to 2008, I don't have records for. But again, this behavior in terms of aggressive interaction between people and some of the non-native bird species didn't just start in 2008.
And did all of that happen during the tenure of village managers who predated you?
Yes, I believe it includes every prior village manager.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Councilwoman. And I do think that there's going to be multiple opportunities to have discussion. I think that there's, was looking at a draft agenda. I think there's an item coming up for the May a regular council meeting. But go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to, well, first of all, I totally oppose killing the ducks. And I pulled out our ordinance. Actually, former council member Singer and I were co-sponsors of it. And we did not call for any killing, humanely, whether humanely or inhumanely, killing of ducks. We did not. Called for, first of all, there had to be numerous complaints made to the parks director. And as far as I can tell from public records requests that I received, I was party to, I was copied to, there was only one request. And it was a hearsay request that someone else had complained. And that another part of the ordinance is that individuals or entities that that they must humanely capture and transport Muscovy ducks, not kill them. So also another aspect of it is that a registration form had to be filed with the village clerk by the trapper who captures and transport. Did that happen? Did he register?
Let me answer that. When I wrote that ordinance, I tried very hard to make it such that the humane treatment of these animals be followed. I know when I wrote it that there were a couple of provisions that kind of went too far, but I wanted to go too far to, again, make this humane as possible. Permits are not required, and transporting them is also something that is not required, but in speaking with Councilman Cody, I believe that there would be a way to make sure that these animals are not put to death on village property. So there will be some amendments to the ordinance I tried a little too hard to protect these animals.
You know, if I could just make a suggestion, I don't want to cut anyone off, but we've got we've got actually two meetings in May 1st, where we've got items that will be discussed. You're going to be providing us with all the documents that you shared this evening. And I think, you know, when we start having discussion May 1st and then at the committee of the whole potentially, if it's necessary at that point, you know, kind of focusing on how we move forward, perhaps to make a different, you know, create a different kind of model for whatever happens in the future. But this is just my humble opinion, but I think you requested an update, you got an update. If you all don't mind, you know, I think Councilmember Cody,
Yes.
and then Councilmember Fiore, and then if we, is that good?
Two quick items. One, I have asked the clerk to put on the May 17th cow agenda an item dealing with invasive exotics, which I want to have us discuss Muscovy ducks, peacocks, Egyptian geese, iguanas, anything else that fits within the rubric of exotic and invasive. However, federal law and backed up by state law does not permit us to engage a trapper and have them relocate Muscovy duck, whether they be Muscovy ducks or Egyptian geese. If we have animals that are aggressive and the decision is made that they have to be dealt with, they have to be humanely euthanized. And Florida law describes that and how that's to be done. We don't have the ability to say, no, we're going to override state or federal law and have the trapper take them out to Black Point and put them off in the bay. That can't be done. So
Thank you. Councilmember Fiore?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. And, you know, there actually may be some residents that came in late that may want to speak on this. It's your prerogative as the chair. I would hope that that would happen, but, you know, I'm actually glad this was brought up because this is something that I've had to deal with for the last few weeks as somebody that loves life and who supported the bird sanctuary ordinance that was approved in 2020. I know, Madam Mayor, you supported it, and Dr. Mattson was one of the co-sponsors. And I would say, Mr. Manager, you know, you've done a lot of great things here. I will say this, I'm a little disappointed, well, actually a lot disappointed in your judgment on this, and I disagree with Commissioner Cody. There was a comment sent in by my friend Henry Clifford. It can't be read in because it came in late. So I'm going to kind of paraphrase for him, if you would indulge me, Madam Mayor, if that's okay. I don't usually ask for a lot of time, but this is important to me. Really, he had a good point. There should be no trappers allowed in any parks or publicly owned land without it first being brought to the attention of the village council. I don't care what happened in the past, and I did serve on the council in the past, but I don't ever remember, Mr. Manager and Mr. Attorney, anything ever being brought to this council to euthanize or kill any ducks. That's got to change, like now. I understand people feed the wildlife in the park. They shouldn't. That's very difficult to control, however. And also understanding each individual homeowner on their property has the right to hire a trapper if there's a nuisance wildlife on their property. Is that correct, Mr. Attorney? Now, it doesn't say destroy them, and they don't want to see them destroyed, but they want them removed. So, you know, there's a higher authority here other than the governor and the state. And, you know, if I don't care if there's a way, we should find a way. And if we do have aggressive wildlife like this and they have to be removed, they can remove them, but don't destroy them. Take them or whatever, let the county deal with it. We can speak to our county commissioner from District 8. Let her deal with it. Okay, because this, you know, this really, you know, this really bothered me for several weeks, and I shared that with you, Mr. Manager. And I'm being very frank here with all my colleagues. I'm glad that you were forthcoming tonight, Mr. Manager, with a statement, and as my two colleagues to the right of me, and I'm sure my two colleagues to the left. But, you know, no one wants to see this in this village again. And if they have to be removed, have a staff follow the trapper and set them free someplace. I understand, Commissioner Cody, what you're saying, but, you know, again, you know, I answer to a higher thing here, authority. This means a lot to me. All animals do, and anybody who knows me knows that. So thank you, Madam Mayor, and I leave I leave that up to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for their comments. As I said, you're going to have multiple times to make comments. Those of you that came in late to today's meeting, we had already closed the public hearing. I would welcome you to come back at is it May 1st? May 1st. And you'll have lots of stuff to opine over, and hopefully you will come back at the May 1st meeting. I'm sorry? Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. The one thing I wanted to bring forward was that I did submit a resolution for a proposal and consideration of the council yesterday for our May 1st meeting, and that is for us to ask the manager to get recommendations and investigation for a wildlife management plan for the village of Palmetto Bay. And I'd be interested in, you know, but between now and May 1st, as brainstorming or doing our own little research as to who might provide input onto that wildlife management plan. If we consider ourselves a village of parks and we consider ourselves gearing towards sustainability and resiliency, we've got conflicts and we've got challenges ahead of us. We have differences of opinions just amongst those here who govern, and certainly amongst our residents. And that's why I'm recommending that and bringing an item forth, that we get expert opinion as to how we treat different species. We've got a number of different species, how we treat the feeding of wildlife on our public lands, because as we know, private lands, you can do what you want as long as you're not violating, if you're not acting unethically. And so that's why I'm hoping that I'll have your support in May as we talk about how we do this in an organized and professional fashion, and get some more input from those who know about best practices, because we've got a caring populace and we want to do it right. Thank you.
Thank you. The manager and I have a meeting on Thursday with James Wildman. He is a humane educator, Rights Foundation of Florida. I can pass on the contact information to you as well to look at some other options. I agree with you, having conversation if we're creating a plan. And as I said to the Herald today, you know, I think and I said it previously here, I think what's important is we can go back through all the invoices dating back 3 mayors and, you know, 3 managers, and that's good information to share, and I'm glad that you're sharing it with us. But I think what's pivotal is what we determine to do as we move forward. Can we create a model that, who knows, eventually impacts legislation above the village of Palmetto Bay, and maybe even the definition of humane euthanizing. But that'll be for further discussion. Ladies, if you can come back on May 1st, would appreciate it. I don't want to do that. I appreciate that, though. It will set some kind of precedence to appreciate. Okay, and with that, if I can get a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
De La Gloria go?